Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the Mary D Show. I'm so glad you're here on another beautiful Monday. I know I say that every Monday, every single Monday, but every single Monday is beautiful. So thank you for being here. I'd like to thank you, our live viewers, and thank you, our replay viewers. Thank you. Really enjoy you coming in, enjoying this Monday afternoon with us. First, I want to thank our sponsors. We have sponsors for the show, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to thank them. And they are the Idea Club with President Dumas Martin Jr. He's the president of the Idea Club. And you can get to the Idea Club. It's scrolling across the bottom. It's theideaclub.com. And if you're looking to have an LLC, if you're looking to have a nonprofit, 501c3, if you're looking to have a corporation, and that's an S Corp or C Corp, you want to talk to Dumas Martin Jr. He is all about intellectual property. That's Dumas. Next, we have First Fridays Travel. If you're looking to travel, you can book your travel through First Fridays Travel, whether it's you're looking for airfare, hotel, car rental, just go to First Fridays Travel and book your travel right there. Next, we have this is a sponsor for this Friday. Now, this is, I'm going to talk more about this, but this is I don't want to call it a pet peeve of mine, but it has become a pet peeve, and that is Save Your Home from Probate. Show you the book, ladies and gentlemen. Save Your Home from Probate. Why would I tell you to save your home from probate? Because you may say, if you own property in the state of California, which is usually a single family home, or you can go up to a fourplex, I think, duplex, fourplex, any of those, you want to be able to give that property to whoever you like to give it to. And the way you can do that is through by getting the book, Save Your Home from Probate. California residents, I made one specifically for California because I know a lot of our viewers are from California, but there's 33 states and the District of Columbia that the form is available in. As I've talked about before, it's taken almost 3 years, well, almost 4 years, 3.5 years to research this to make sure the book is as complete as I could possibly make it for you. But those of you that, if you say, well, I already have a trust or already have, then this book may not be for you. But what I've learned is that you may have already done everything, but you may have family and friends that have not. And many people, believe it or not, don't even have a will. Think about that. They own property, but they don't even have a will. So now what that happens when they pass away, which may be 100 years from now, but whenever they pass away, then that property has to go to probate. And probate means it's going to court. That's what it really means. Now, if you want to avoid that, you want to come on Friday. It starts at 6. It lasts about 35, 40 minutes at the most. It's not going to take that long, but I want to share with you because let me tell you how important this is, or how powerful this paper is I'm going to talk about. It is more powerful than a will. Think about that. More powerful than a will. And that's what you want to learn. That's what you will learn in about 35 minutes. Not a lot. I don't want to take a lot of your time because I know everybody's busy, but just to give you enough information that you can share with family, friends, co-workers, that kind of thing. So that's this Friday. Also, we have, as a sponsor, we have the Henderson Real Estate Team. They're a sponsor. It's the Henderson Real Estate Team.info, and they are a sponsor for the show. And in addition to that, we have Sutton Insurance. They're also a sponsor. So, ladies and gentlemen, now, giving you the sponsors, giving you the information. What I will put into it, I haven't put that in, if you're interested in coming to that, the webinar on Friday, and you are not receiving the emails, because it went out on the email and it went out on a text message about 2 hours ago today. If you don't have that and you would like to come, then you can go to Facebook and you can leave your information, leave your email in my Facebook, and I will email it out to you so you can get that link. Let me think, where else can you get the link from? Because if you go to, if you're going to Save From Home, well, that's the best way, is to go to Facebook and leave me your email, and I'll make sure either me or somebody from our team, they'll be checking and they'll send it out to you. That is probably the best and the easiest way, is to do it like that. If you're interested in coming to that webinar, and the webinar is free. Intentionally. I don't want anybody to say they didn't know. I want everybody to know and you can use it. So that's the reason for that. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you our guest for today. Our guest for today is Hazel Lambert. She is the CEO and founder of Advocate for Nurturing Transition Counseling, or ANT, A-N-T. And I say that, and Hazel and I were talking earlier, and she said, you know, Mary, the reason I have the acronym for ANT is because ants are so, they work together as a team, and they don't stop until they get the job done. So she truly believes in that. In addition, she's going to give us a history lesson. This is really important to me about what Juneteenth is. And as we know now, Juneteenth is a national holiday. And so if you work for the government, the city, the county, the state, you are officially off. Now, private sector, I think they have a choice, but those areas, they are officially off. So I'd like to introduce each and every one of you today to Hazel Lambert. Hi, Hazel.
Hi, Mary. Thank you for having me on your show again. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. It's always a pleasure to have you on. We have comments, so we're going to go through the comments before we get started.
Okay.
First, we have Kelly. Hi, Kelly. How are you? She said, hi, Mary and Hazel. she's here for her history lesson. Good. And next, we have Elaine Wilson. Elaine says, hello, Mary and Hazel. She's here to learn. So, all right. Then we have, is that Richard? Hi, Richard.
Hi, Richard.
And Gwen. Hi, Richard. And Gwen says, hello, Mary and guest Hazel Lambert. I tell you, you know what? I thank all of you for coming. I can't thank you enough. And Richard says, hello, Hazel.
Hello, Richard.
He didn't want to forget you. And then Gwen says,
oh, okay.
Oh, your family's from Galveston. That's right.
Oh, my goodness.
That's right. Uh-huh. Galveston, Texas. So that is for sure. So, ladies and gentlemen, we love your comments. I can tell you that now. Any of you leaving comments, we will definitely put those up, and we want to hear from you. And as I said before, today we have Hazel. She's been on the show before. Oh, David. Oh, hi, David. I'm going to get you. Hi, how you doing, David? Hi, Marion. I can promise you, each and every one of you, you are special to us for being here and taking time out of your day. So, hi to each and every one of you. Hazel is not only in addition to her company. Hazel and I share. We're on the same National Council of Negro Women together.
Yes.
She is also an executive board member from the Riverside section. So we are sisters in that organization. So I have so much respect for Hazel and her knowledge. And she's going to give us a Juneteenth lesson because first, before she talks about Juneteenth, I want her to tell us about her company. But I want her to share Juneteenth because we were in a meeting and we were going over the history. And ladies and gentlemen, I wasn't getting it right. I was getting it wrong. And so I sat there and I said, but the blessing is we had other sisters there that knew the correct history. And that meant so much to me. I said, that's why I always say nothing beats a team. And they had it right, and they were right on point. And I asked Hazel, could she come on and really share with you what is the actual and the true, why do we celebrate Juneteenth? Because many people hear the words Juneteenth, but they don't really know the history behind it. But before we do a deep dive, because Hazel has slides for us, we want to give Hazel a chance to talk about her company. Hazel?
Okay, thank you, Mary. And as you said, I use the acronym ANT, A-N-T, for Advocate for Nurturing Transitioning Services. My agency basically provides training, coaching, consulting, and we do a number of different things, where we work with individuals on a one-on-one, where we talk about professional development. I also do financial literacy. And of course, cultural sensitivity is a big thing right now. And we all know that we've gone through the pandemic, and mindfulness is the new word on the street right now. And we know that folks are in need of having someone that they can talk to and share just some of the trauma that they've gone through, some of the grieving process. So that's what my agency does. It provides services on a one-on-one. It provides it to a group. and always available to do specialized training that can be designed to meet that individual's need or that company's need.
Right. All right. I mean, that I can say, I would assume right now that you're really busy with everything going on in our society. I mean, we've been traumatized, it's almost, in my opinion, daily. The mass shootings
Yes.
has made us, I mean, I'll be honest. When I go any place now, I am looking around. I'm not, I can't just be at peace. I have to be on edge because I don't know what's going to happen. And watching TV every day, and it seems like now it's become almost commonplace.
Yes.
Yeah, so I would think you really, I mean, there's a need. Let me just say that.
There's definitely a need, and as you stated, I think we're all on edge, but we still have to continue to put one foot in front of the other.
That's
you know
true.
we have to have faith and believe that, and I tell people we're here to make a difference. We're here to
Right.
make a difference, to help each other through this.
Well, we appreciate everything you're doing, and please continue to do it because there's a need in our community.
Most definitely. Thank you.
We have Richard. Richard says, "How many people are with your agency? Is it? Do you mean counselors, Richard, or do you mean clients?" So I think you. I think. Well, let's say either one. So he's saying, how many clients are you licensing or counselors? Either one.
Well, right now it's sort of back and forth. I'm partnering, and I believe you have Miss Shaw on your show.
Program. Mm-hmm.
And I'm currently collaborating with her because we're working with Alboy School District. We're working with some of the teachers and principals, but because we're finding that within the school, there's the need. We're coaching the teachers and the principals on cultural sensitivity. So we're working with the school district right now.
Okay, he said employees, but she's saying right now I believe it's there are 2 employees with the consulting.
Correct. Just two right now, and then I do some side contracting as the need grows.
Got it. All right, all right. Well, I know too. Right now we're gonna go into finding out, and thank you for that, Hazel. Finding out about Juneteenth. So I'm gonna put the Juneteenth flyer up. Let's see, do it right now. There we go.
Okay.
And we're gonna, let's see. Yeah, so we're there. We wanted to know the history for those of you that are not familiar with it, as to why is June the 19th a day that is celebrated. It just so happens too that's actually my sister's birthday. So
okay.
My sister's birthday, June 19th. And then mine is June 22nd. So we're right. And then my other
you
sister,
guys in June.
and my there's 3 of us, 3 girls, and we're all born in June. And my other sister is June 29th.
Oh, you're gonna have to do your research on that, Mary, because we find when they're born in June, if you go back 9 months, we ask what was happening during that 9 months. Was it an anniversary? Going on? So you're gonna have to go back at least 9 or 10 months to find out was it an anniversary? Was it a birthday? What brought that on?
I don't know. And that all 3 girls are born in June, and we're born for 3 days. My sister and I we're the same age. If you could believe it. We're the exact same for 3
11 months apart.
Okay. That happened. It's so interesting. My mother said when we were born, she didn't want us to have the same birthday, which didn't happen, but we're so close, we could have been born almost on the same day, really.
Okay.
But anyway, back to Juneteenth. Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about celebrating Juneteenth. I wanna, I added some photos in here, so we're going to go through the photos and then I want to talk a little bit about it. But if you can go ahead and click it, and I want to go to the first one where we talk about, Juneteenth becoming a national holiday. As you know, last year in 2021, Biden signed the form to make sure that Juneteenth is a national holiday. It is the longest original running African-American holiday that celebrates the emancipation of those who have been enslaved in the United States. And it originated in Galveston, Texas. And I believe one of your guests mentioned that she was from Galveston, Texas. And they've been celebrating this for quite a while. So if we can move to the next slide so I can kind of, start there with the history of Juneteenth. It was basically known as Jubilee Day. right? Although we call it Juneteenth now, it's in synopsis with Jubilee Day, Emancipation Day, Freedom Day, and Black Independence Day. So basically, what's happening is the Emancipation Proclamation was issued in September 22, 1862 by President Abraham Lincoln, but it didn't go into effect until January of that following year of 1863. What was happening is when the slave, I don't really like to use the word slaves, but I like to say when the enslaved people, when that Emancipation Proclamation was signed, a lot of the owners took their enslaved people to Texas. And the reason being is because during the Civil War, Texas wasn't really being monitored as much. So they was able to take them over to Texas, and they didn't realize that they had been freed by this Emancipation Proclamation that was signed in 1862. And most people would tell you that the reason that had been done is because they was trying to get another harvest, right? And I like to quote Dr. Amos Wilson when he says, if you want to understand any problem in America, you need to focus on who profit from that problem, not who suffer. So the whole thing was about that, was getting another harvest, making some more money, being profitable. So on June 19, 1865, the Union General Gordon Granger, accompanied by 2 transport of colored federal troops, announced that the Civil War had ended and enslaved people had been freed. So think about it. You're talking about June 19, 1865. The Emancipation Proclamation was signed in September 1862, but it was enacted in 1863. So you look, 2.5 years. They didn't realize that they had been freed. And most people there's the myth that, some were going to tell them that they were killed, but obviously, there was newspapers, there was all kind of, media, as we call it, that was there to let folks know that it was. But what was happening is, again, you have to look at the money. It was all about economics at the time. So at that time, it was approximately 250 Texans enslaved people were unaware that their freedom had been secured by the government.
Wow.
Yes. Let's go to the next slide.
Okay. Oops.
Go to the next slide.
Okay, there we go.
So I wanted to show you some pictures of so after they realized that first anniversary, what they started celebrating was, again, what they call Jubilee Day. And this first photo is what was happening to our elders, because as you know, back then, most of the times they weren't allowed to dress up, and even when you look at it and you think about where we are now, because oftentimes African Americans have been told, about their fashion sense, how we set the trend, so to speak. But what was happening is, when they had an opportunity to celebrate, the elders dressed up in their finest clothes, as you can see from the first picture here, and also what they did is they would decorate, their horses and carriages and flowers and different things to adorn their carriages and horses with different things, what we call floats today. They also had their band, to have music, to celebrate their newfound freedom. There was also the enactment of, and that's why I wanted to make sure that I talked about, when the Union soldiers came, that he was accompanied by the Black troops. So they also enact, the Civil War, the troop guides coming, and that's the picture in your lower right-hand corner. And then the other pictures are just those children and people that are out, getting together and just celebrating that newfound freedom.
Right. All right.
Okay, go to the next slide. Okay, as you can tell, this is an old picture. So as we said, even though that the enslaved people were emancipated and they were free, it didn't stop the fact that, as we see today, everybody wasn't happy about it. So although they were going out and they were celebrating with the barbecues and the dancing and the singings and dressing up, everybody wasn't happy. So they had to find places that they could go and celebrate so that they wouldn't be harmed or killed or maimed or lynched or whatever the case may have been. So
Mhm.
what ended up happening is some of the enslaved people got together and raised about $800 and purchased what they now call the Emancipation Park, right? So that they can use that as a place to celebrate not only Juneteenth but other celebrations. And again, like I said, this is an old picture, but in your left hand corner, the gentleman that's standing is Dr. not Reverend, I'm sorry, uh, Reverend Gates was the one who got together and worked with some others where they raised $800 to purchase this land. The what's again known as the Houston Emancipation Park, so that they can begin to celebrate Juneteenth every year. And this is something that has been going on in Galveston, Texas since 1980. But I wanted to kind of go back just a little bit, that although Juneteenth has been celebrated the longest in Galveston, Texas since
Mhm.
1980, other states eventually followed along um, with Texas and began to recognize Juneteenth. You had other states such as Minneapolis, Virginia, New York, New Jersey, all followed Texas' lead. And in 2021, Washington, Massachusetts, Oregon, Virginia, and New York also, started to
Right.
allow for paid,
Mhm.
made
Mhm.
it a paid holiday. Right now, they're saying only two states, and I was told that Hawaii is it hasn't been signed yet, but right now, as of date, only two states have not yet recognized Juneteenth, and that's been Hawaii and South Dakota. But it's my understanding that I believe there's something in the works for Hawaii to make it an official legal holiday.
All right. So
Okay.
now it's only like South Dakota's the only one that hasn't signed on.
As of date. Now, if there's something in the work that I haven't seen anything yet, but those are the only two that I know of, and I knew that Hawaii had signed something, and they're waiting for it to go through the official approval.
Okay. All right.
Okay, let's go to the next slide. This is the historical marker, and I believe your guests may have seen this. This was erected in 2014. It basically outlines the commemoration of the Emancipation Proclamation and the order that was read, which was considered Order 3. And it is one of over 200 historical monuments that are uh, in this area. But it's off of Strand Street for those Texans that live out in Galveston, if they want to know
Mhm.
where it is and go by and visit this. Go to the next slide.
Okay.
Now, this particular slide is the Juneteenth Monument. Every year, Ashton Village is the site where the Galveston community commemorates the reading of the General Order Number 3 in Texas. And it's followed with a prayer breakfast and a reenactment of when the Union soldiers came to read that order. And on the property ground stands the city official Juneteenth statue called the Legislature, commemorating the day in which the legislation made June 19 a Texas state holiday, which was back in 1980.
All right.
Okay, the next slide. What
Mhm.
most people don't know, we don't see it as much, but it's changing. There is a Juneteenth flag, right? So Ben Haight is the founder of the National Juneteenth Celebration. In 1997, he decided to commemorate a flag that celebrated Juneteenth, which is a reflection of a new freedom and a new people and a new star, right? So in 2000, before they were getting ready to erect this flag in honor of George Floyd, it was Lisa Jennings Graff who decided to redo it because it didn't have the actual date on it. It just had, the flag and the stars, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But she wanted to make sure that she included that June 19, 1865 was
Right.
included on the flag so that we can remember that date and that significant time in history. So in 2002, the flag was changed to include the date June 19, 1865. So just to go back, the star in the middle is the center represents the state of Texas, because as we said, Texas was the original place where, the Emancipation Proclamation, the order number 3 was read, and where those enslaved people had been, and they didn't know that they were free. So that star that you see in the middle represents the great state of Texas, and the bursting around that represent a new star, a new beginning. And as we look at the curve that's around that, you see the star in the middle, you see the bursting, and then between the red and the blue stands for a new horizon. So that's what that symbol is about. So I wanted to make sure that is. So the Juneteenth flag is a celebration of Black patriots and Black patriotism, the past and the present. Next slide.
Okay.
I thought this was important to show, because even though it's the Juneteenth flag, it's the significance of flags for all Americans, right? So what happens is, after the murder of George Floyd, the Juneteenth flag flew over a number of cities, as shown as a show of solidarity. And this was in 2020, right? In Cincinnati, it flew below the American flag at City Hall, as you can see, as it's represented there. The Juneteenth flag flew over Wisconsin State Capitol in Madison, temporarily replacing the Pride flag to celebrate the LGBT Pride Month. And for those of us who don't know, June is the LGBT Pride Month. We celebrate LGBT in June, which is this month, and also we celebrate Juneteenth. So basically what was happening is they replaced that flag with this one in celebration of LGBTQ. I have to slow down a little bit because I want to make sure that I get it right.
Right.
In Syracuse, both flags were flown half-mast at City Hall to memorize the loss of those that we lost during COVID-19. So as I said, the significance for the flag is for all Americans.
Right.
The annual Juneteenth flag raising ceremonies have been launched in numerous U.S. cities across, such as Chicago, Boston, Las Vegas, Memphis, Omaha, and of course Galveston. So we want folks to know that, yes, we celebrate Juneteenth, but in solidarity with, America and everybody else.
Right. Okay.
Go to the next slide. So for most of us, Juneteenth is a celebration of Feast of Freedom. As African American, family gatherings and prayer is one of the biggest thing, and we can't have gatherings without food, Mary.
Nope. Nope. You gotta have food there.
We gotta have food, but we have the traditional food, as we said, the chicken and the greens and all of the stuff that we're not supposed to eat, right? All the stuff that we're not supposed to eat. But also there's some other things that we have. Most people, we have the velvet cake and the watermelon and the red beans, which is what I call the red food, right?
Right.
The red food symbolizes the bloodshed of enslaved people who never tasted freedom and the resilience of people in the face of apathy. Red is also a West African culture symbolizing a powerful transformation. So that's the purpose when you see the strawberry drinks, or what we call the red Kool-Aid, right? And the watermelon, and as I said, the red velvet cake and the red beans. That red symbolizes, the bloodshed. So that's part of what those traditional foods are when we see them. So the next slide.
The food looks good, by the way.
Yes, it does. I know we were talking about food before we went on. And also, Juneteenth is a celebration of African diasporas, right? Most people can look at, a person and think that we're all, just Blacks and African Americans. But during that diasporas, you have Black Africans, you have the African Puerto Ricans, the African Caribbeans, the Haitians, the Jamaicans, the Creole. We're all, have that same heritage, and we need to begin to understand that. We need to begin to realize that. We need to make sure that we celebrate that. And I know, Mary, that you are a writer, you are an author, and I'm an advocate reader. And I'm finding that more and more of the authors are starting to use certain things instead of just saying black all the time. We're starting to talk about that cinnamon color, that nutmeg color, uh,
Yeah.
trying to just get away from just saying black, because when you look at the celebration of the African diaspora, we come in all different shapes and sizes and color tone. It's
Right.
not just black. So that's something I think is important, not only for us as African American, but for our children as well, because there's a lot of stigma that's associated with the different skin colors, and we need to celebrate that. We need to understand, why do we have these different skin tones? And it's
Mm-hmm.
because we were spread out throughout, but yet again, as I tell people, you may not be kin to me, but you're skin to me, right? Uh, so when we look at the celebration of, Juneteenth, we have to remember that, we all came from, different places, and, we need to celebrate our different heritages.
Right. Right. I agree.
So with that said, as I wanted to show you the pictures before, and I wanted to show them to you now, even though they're more colorful. You look at what we did in 1866 as far as the reenactment. We continue to do the reenactment. Now they've also added what we call a Miss Juneteenth as a part
Mm-hmm.
of it. We have our elders, again, the music and
Mm-hmm.
everything. So another quote that I wanted to share with everybody, and it was a quote from Count Constantine de Bono. And he was saying, as far as the African American, he says, this race of black people, the object of our scorn, is the very race to which we owe our arts, our science, and even the use of our speech. And again, as we celebrate Juneteenth, we need to remember, the significance of, our contributions and what we've done. And I tell
Mm-hmm.
people, America is ranked high up there. I won't say number one anymore, but they're high up there. And it wasn't by accident that
Mm-hmm.
America became as powerful as it has. We had a lot to do with that. You look at us, our resilient, you look at, our contributions as scientists, as doctors, as teachers, as lawyers, as I say, the original cowboys, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Enters, all of that. So we have a lot to celebrate. And I think it's important that, as even though it's become a national holiday here, we need to be proud of the contributions that we made and that we're continuing to make, and continue to, tell our children and our grandchildren and our great grandchildren of,
Yeah.
our significant contributions. And I want to
Okay.
just go to the last and final slide.
Okay.
Um, and I just wanted to show a lot of the upcoming Juneteenth celebrations that are taking place. This thing has expanded, it has exploded, since last year. We have
Mhm.
car shows now that we're doing. We have, gatherings. Of course, you're going to always have the food. We're not going to get away from the food. We're not going to get away from the music. We're not going to get away from, all the other fun stuff. But now, we're including art, and we're including the history, and we're talking about, again, our contributions. And there's also the Juneteenth Business Expo, because there's a lot of, we've come a long way and we have a long way to go. And I think, again, like we said, A.N.T is about coming together. We need to be advocates for each other, advocates for our community, advocates for our families, and even advocates for ourselves. Right.
Right.
So with that said, that's my take on Juneteenth, and thank you for allowing me to share that with your audience. And I hope
Yes.
people continue to uh, get involved and learn more about our history and the
Oh,
work that we've done and are doing.
okay. But I'm going to go and see if there's any questions because, ladies and gentlemen, that was a lot of information. I can tell you. I do see some. It's like, whoa, okay. I said, there's quite a few here. Okay, we're gonna go one by one. Here we go. Let's see. Let me take this down. There we go. Okay, and the first one here is let's see, is this Richard? You said hello, Hazel. And then it was Gwen that says, my family's from Galveston. And I was married before. Many of you may or may not know that. And my late husband, which is Gwen's uncle. First cousin. They're first cousins. Galveston. He was born in Galveston, Texas. I know, Gwen. You know, I didn't forget. So David said, and I've been there too. I have been to Galveston. Hello, Mary and Hazel. David. And then here's Richard. He says, how many
that was the first question. Okay.
Right. And then we did answer that. And then this is Charles. Hi, Charles. And that's Charles. She's saying hi to me and you, Hazel. And then there's Willie. She says, hello, Mary. And she's giving us a fist bump. Hi, Willie. I tell you. And Willie's in Atlanta. So hi, Willie. And then next is Jeanette McGee. Hi, Mary. Hi, Jeanette. If you leave a comment, we will say hi. Believe me.
Okay.
Charles says, Hazel, great presentation. Is it possible to get a copy? That's what Charles wants to know.
Just the picture, sure.
Okay. Then Charles, you're on Facebook too, right, Hazel?
Yes.
Okay. You can go to her Facebook page and you know how to leave her a direct message or DM, and she'll be and tell her what you like, and she'll help you with that. Charles, she'll tell you how to get that. And there's Dumas Martin. Hi, Dumas. How are you? Good to see you. This is the gentleman I was telling everybody about intellectual property. There he is right there. That's Dumas. That's who you want to talk to. Then we have Gwen. Gwen said, San Mateo, California celebrated at the MLK Center since the early 1970s. As teenagers, we look forward to the big Juneteenth picnics annually. Didn't realize that then that it wasn't celebrated throughout the United States. Because you know what? That's your community. So you were already celebrating it, Gwen. Isn't that something? I believe that you didn't know that everybody else wasn't. The Juneteenth in Riverside, and she's been on the show, and that is Dr. Dolores Amore. She started celebrating Riverside, like you said, over 30 years ago, before anybody even recognized Juneteenth. And this Jeanette says, it is so amazing and blessing to hear more about our Black history. We surely have been through a lot, but I have not had an opportunity to go and travel and visit these places. So thank you so much. Oh, isn't that nice? I'm telling you, that's why I wanted her to come on, because we need to hear the true history. Sometimes we hear it, it's abbreviated. It's not, we don't go into detail. So we think, as I mentioned before, I thought I knew the history. I thought I knew it, but I found out, you know what? I only knew bits and pieces. So I appreciate what Hazel has put together for us. I definitely appreciate it. Janie says, I love that. Hi, Janie. Janie, we have to talk. Don't forget now. I haven't forgot. Okay. So next we have Dumas, and he says, very informative, without a doubt. Thank you. Thank you, Hazel. And Kelly, we all know Kelly. This is another one of our sisters from NCNW. Kelly says, where can we celebrate Juneteenth in Southern California? Ooh, Kelly, I can tell you, I'll email you some things. There's about, in the Inland Empire, honestly, Riverside County is about 6 different Juneteenth celebrations. Yes. And San Bernardino County has 5. That's
And to answer Kelly, most people are celebrating it on June 18th, which is Saturday. It's going to be one at White Park. And then Paris, I'm working with the city of Paris. They're going to actually hold theirs on June 19th, which is Sunday. And it happens to coincide with Father's Day. So come out, they're going to do something special for the fathers. For those that are celebrating on the actual day, they're going to also be celebrating Father's Day, because we don't want to take that away from the fathers.
Right.
But we can come out on June 19th on that Sunday. They will be doing something special for the fathers as well.
Oh, and it's also celebrated on the 19th in Corona. Corona's Juneteenth is on the 9th. It's on that Sunday also. And they're doing something special for the fathers also. So it depends on where you live, but I can tell you they're going on.
Yes.
And we will definitely. I've been emailing some out, but I'm sure there's more to go out to. It says, and then he says, "Oh, Hazel, you got to my question." Okay, okay. And next we have Duma says blackonomics.com to go there. Those of you interested in going there and find out information about Blackonomics, and that's from Dumas Martin. And I do want to take this time to also thank Oliver Welch, who's our executive producer for the show. I didn't forget about you either, Oliver. Hi, Oliver. So Dumas says, thank you, Hazel, for this great information. Yeah, because we
My
want to
pleasure.
know, we're spreading the exact history, not something that is, as I said before, bits and pieces of what it is. So really what you're saying at the beginning, Hazel, there was 2 years between the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation in Texas, which was on June 19th, that we had enslaved people for 2.5 years. They worked. And
Well,
this was,
always for free, but yes.
I'm just saying they didn't know they were free. Basically.
Correct.
Okay. I have some friends from Texas. They've been celebrating Juneteenth for a long time too. Hi, Sheila. Hi, ladies. She said, hi, ladies. Hi. Nice to see you, Sheila. And then Janie says, yes. I think she's meaning that's how long it took. And Charles, you said D? Okay. Oh, I'm going too fast. Charles said D. I don't know if that D was for me or for Hazel. And then Richard says, did you mention that Trudy Coleman is sponsoring a Juneteenth celebration on Saturday, June 18th at Ganesha Park in Pomona from 10 to 7? We did not mention that, but that is now everybody knows that. If you'd like to go to Ganesha Park on the 18th of June in Pomona from 10 to 7, it's going to be a huge Juneteenth celebration. Those of you that would like to go to that, it will be really nice. And then there's Juneteenth. There's parades that go on during that time. Ganesha Park. Yep, you're right, Dumas in Pomona. And Janie says, it's a lot going on. Whoop, whoop. Come on, Janie. All right. Janie said, fill your gas tank and be ready to enjoy as many as you can. Yeah, because it's all around, everywhere. There's going to be something going on. And Richard says, hello, Dumas. And Jeanette says, amen, and break the color lines. We are a rainbow family, beautiful people. Yes, we are. And Dumas, you said, you're too funny. You said, see you in Pomona, Richard. You guys.
So for Richard and Dumas, Ganesha Park, my husband loved the name Ganesha Park so much, he named our daughter Ganesha. And I know we had an opportunity to go out there and celebrate. And I want to find out more about Ganesha Park. I just know that it was some prominent people that provided a lot to their community, and that's how that park was named after them. But we love the name so much that we named our youngest daughter Ganesha.
All right. That's a history lesson right there.
Yes.
And I almost forgot. O'Kelly says, did the enslavers know about the Emancipation Proclamation in 1862? No, 1962. 1962 or 1862?
1862.
I think 1862.
But to answer that question, and I believe you meant 1862. Yes, they knew. That's why they took them from where they were to Texas, because like I said, Texas wasn't closely watched. And again, it was about getting another harvest. It was about making more money. So for 2.5 years, again, they was able to, make more money while their harvest came in.
Also,
so yes, they do.
And Jeanette said, she sent a smiley face. I know, Jeanette, when JD said whoop whoop, I said and when I tell you, because it's a national holiday, it has changed. Because prior to it being a national holiday, there would be like 1 or 2 celebrations locally.
Yes.
Now it has, as I said before, it's gone to Riverside, because Riverside County is like 5 or 6 just in Riverside County alone. And then Kelly, did I get yours? Yeah. So they did know. Yeah, you did mean 1862.
Yes. Yes, they knew.
They knew. They were aware, because that's why they moved. It's like, well, we don't want to honor that, because at that time too, we really honestly try, as far as I know, the government, people adhere to laws for the most part. More, you know what I mean? They really were, because that's all we had to live by were lost. And so they knew if they moved, because Texas during that time too, it hadn't been long since the Mexican American War. So Texas was one of the states that originally was owned by Mexico or Mexico. So there are 5 states that we traded to end that war, and we observed. Texas was one that became a U.S. California, Nevada, Arizona, Oregon, and I think Washington. Those are the 5 states that were originally under that belonged to Mexico before that war. So it was more open. I think that's what you're saying too. They hadn't really established the government to the level that the other states were. And Gwen said, yes, the enslavers knew. Like Hazel said, rumor was that anyone trying to bring the message was killed. That's why they sent the troops. Wow.
Yeah, and as they said, they had newspapers. It's not that they didn't have things that they couldn't read about, but again, that's why they mostly kept in slaves where they didn't allow them to read.
Right. Oh no, it was illegal to teach.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And then Richard said, and thanks, Gwen. Richard said, we need to form a committee to see if we could get one big celebration in one of the Inland Empire. What do you think? You would think, but you know what I think it is, Richard, honestly, is that people like having things near them.
Yes.
And they like the community of having, I'll be honest, the celebration that has gone on here for over 30 years is only 2 blocks away from us. So we would walk down to it. That was that close to us. So I think people like that. But now that so many people are celebrating, I don't know what the answer to that is. I honestly don't. How will we, you can't go to all of them.
Correct.
So I don't know what the answer is.
I agree with you, Mary, because people want to go where they're closest to home.
Yeah.
It's probably best to have them in those different communities so that they can celebrate within their different communities.
Right.
But again, we're all on one accord because we're still celebrating, the history,
right,
and the freedom.
Right. I don't think that, just like Martin Luther King celebrations, there's not one big one.
Correct.
Now, in our area, there isn't. I mean, there's all kinds of celebrations, but there is not one big Martin Luther King celebration. So I just think it's that community. And I just think as long as you're there celebrating,
yes,
wherever that may be, then you're fine. Wherever that celebration is going on. Yes.
And but I can only imagine, like you said, Los Angeles is probably doing it really big, especially over at Ganesha Park. You figure places like at White Park isn't really that big, in downtown. And the city of Paris, they're not that big, but just to have them in the different communities and celebrating, that Jubilee.
Right. It makes a difference.
Yes.
Jamie says, I agree. One big celebration, folks drive far from other holidays, and there's fewer of them, but they're smaller. That's what it is. So whatever works. I just, as long as we're celebrating, I'm happy for it. It says, Elaine says, there is discussion in San Bernardino about being done to possibly host a large Juneteenth celebration in the future. I have heard that. I was actually we were at a meeting last week, and they mentioned it. It was mentioned about, because to my knowledge, I think San Bernardino is 5. And if I'm not mistaken, theirs are all held on the same day. So that's why. But it looks like in Riverside County, different cities are hosting it. It's not 2 inside of Riverside the same day. No, they're like Corona has theirs, Paris, Moreno Valley, Riverside. So that's what I noticed. The city is hosting it. And Daryl says, okay, you throw that idea out. Don't throw the idea out, Richard. You see what Elaine said. San Bernardino is looking into having one big one. So that's what they're considering doing. So don't throw the idea out, Richard. It's a good idea. Oliver says, Hazel, awesome. Welcome again to the show. And again, a wealth of knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. I tell you, Hazel's a wealth of knowledge anyway. I'm going to tell you, really. She is a student. And so when you're a student, you're learning the history, you want to share it. You want to share it and let the community know this is information that can help a lot of other people know, why do we celebrate Juneteenth? It's not just a day off work. It is not. It's so much more than that. And that's why I was very, I was happy to bring you on the show, Hazel, to share that with our community so people know it's not just the party time. It's more
Yes.
to it than that. I don't want people to think. I mean, I'm not saying not to have a party or anything like that,
Right.
but just to know what is the actual history. Because I think when it comes to Martin Luther King, we know the history. That's been a history. I don't think there's anyone that doesn't know. And that's, it's about the civil rights. Juneteenth really stands alone. It stands on its own, really, and says to our country, to our society as a whole, this has affected many people. Whether you were already free or not, there were people here who were not. They were held in bondage for this time period, although they should have been free. And so the day that they were all, I believe that's the day the troops came in, didn't they, to free the people? I think it was the military that did it. Do you know that part, Hazel?
Which day were you? What was the question again, Mary?
On June 19th, didn't it take the military to free the enslaved?
And that's what I was saying. Not only was it the Union General Gordon Granger, he brought in the colored federal troops also, and that was probably a way, maybe, like I said, when you see in the colored troops, for the enslaved people to take it as, okay, this is real, right? Because people that look like us, and
Right.
you're free.
Yeah. I know, that is for sure. Well, I would definitely thank you, Hazel, for coming on. Any of me ask any more questions before we let Hazel go, because I don't want to let her go, and then you guys, then more questions come in, and here they come. There are. Richard says, thank you. He says, thank you, Janie. I'm going back to my idea. Maybe we can celebrate every weekend in June. Richard.
Yes, Richard, because I think it's Louisville, and I may have the state wrong, but they do like a 9-day celebration. So, Richard, if that's something that you want to do a whole month, we'll take February, we'll take June.
And then we have Janie says, we will be talking about this at the chamber meeting. Also, thank you, Hazel, for the information. All right. And then Kelly says, thank you, Hazel. What a wonderful presentation.
Thank you, Kelly.
And then we have, I tell you, our sister Kelly, she was one of the first ones here today. She said, I'm ready for it. So, next, we have Elaine that says, thank you, Hazel. I learned even more than I knew before. Now, we should each share this information, especially with our young people. Our history is dynamic. All right, Elaine.
I agree, Elaine. I agree.
Yes.
That's where that mental wellness come in handy.
Yes. And I do know, knowing your history strengthens you. It really does when you know what the history is. And then and Gwen says, great show, loved it. Well, Gwen, and I'll tell you, thank you, Gwen. Your support means so much, more than you'll ever know. I definitely want to thank you for that. So thank you, Hazel, for being the guest on the show today. And before I end the show, I did want to let our viewers know about the free webinar this Friday. So thank you, Hazel. And I'll let
Thank you, Mary. I appreciate you letting me come on your show again and speaking to your audience. And I support you in all that you do. And we'll be seeing each other as sisters for the National Council of Negro Women.
Yes. Thank you again. And Hazel's our historian, ladies and gentlemen. So, all right. Take care, Hazel.
All right. Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, I want to go with you. Oh, I almost forgot. Here we go. I want to those of you that didn't hear me at the beginning of the show, that this Friday, there's a free presentation, totally free. And the title of it is Save Your Home from Probate. This is near and dear to my heart. My family, unfortunately, has gone through probate, and probate is not pretty, ladies and gentlemen. There's no pretty in it. When you are sitting at a table and you're across from a family member, it is ugly. And it has become a mission of mine to save people from this. And the way to do that is the person that owns the property to make sure you have already stipulated that who do you want that property to go to whenever you're no longer alive. And the way you do that is you come to the workshop on Friday. It's a free webinar. And I'm going to talk with you about the importance of this, because many people think if you have a will, that's all you need. And that's not true. I have actually heard people say this to me. I have a will. And they say it as if that is it, and that is all you need, and that they're done. And that is not true. It just isn't. If you have a will, ladies and gentlemen, the property must go to court and be probated, meaning a judge will have to determine who gets your property. I know you don't know that. If you've never been through it, how could you know that? I didn't know it. I learned something. I thought if you had a will, that some things are automatic, and they are not. They are not. So I would encourage you, if you didn't already receive the email or a text to sign up, this is all free. Then if you did receive it, you're fine. Just go there, click the link, and you can register. If you didn't receive it, you can go to my DM or my direct message on Facebook, leave your email, and then I'll send you an email. I'll send you, either I will or one of my assistants, they'll send it to you. And and then you can sign up there. And I would, if you know someone, they own a home and they haven't, even if they have a will, if they don't have a trust, let me just stress that they have a will, but they don't have a trust, then they really would like to, not saying they would like to, but it might be a good idea to come and listen. Come and listen. Now, one lady that did use it, let me tell you the story. You'll hear it again on Friday if you're here for the presentation on Friday. But she did not, in 2019, we did hers. Her mother, I told her about it, and her mother, when she came home and she expressed it to her, she said, Mom, you might want to, she had owned a home, but she didn't have a will. And she said, well, let's try this. And she did everything that I tell everybody to do. Then the lady, 2 years later, she became incapacitated. And so what that means is she had dementia that actually she had Alzheimer's. And so she could not contract, meaning it would have been illegal for her to sign a contract at that time. But we had already done her paperwork 2 years earlier, which was a blessing. But the lady subsequently passed away this year. And her daughter told me she called 3 attorneys. This is so interesting. She called 3 attorneys, and all 3 of them said, whoever told you about this paperwork, you need to thank them. And she did. She called me and thanked me. She said, Mary, they all said you have been blessed because you don't have to go to court. All you have to do is fill out 1 sheet of paper, and the property is turned over to you. It's now in your name. Because that's all going to court really does. It's going to change the title of that property. Whose name will it now go into? And now that person can sell it, rent it, whatever they want to do, they now own it. But if you don't have these things done, then the person has to go to court to change that name on that title. I know that may not sound like anything that you have to be dealing with, but I promise you, if you know someone and they are the only one on title, it works better if you're the only one on title. Let me say that. It is one of the easiest things to do. But this is what happens. People put things off. And they say, oh, I can do it tomorrow. I can do it next week. This is what I had to learn in life. None of us know what tomorrow's going to bring. None of us know what next week is going to bring. None of us know anything, if we be honest. So today is all we have. So if you know someone, come on Friday, sign up, and listen and learn. Learn how to protect yourself and learn how to give to the next generation. I call it a gift. That's what I call it. I call your giving a gift because that's what it is to the next generation. As I said before, California has its own book. That's how serious I am about California. And the other 30, one of my team members, I finally made books for all states. So all of the 34 states. California had its own, but the other ones aren't on Amazon. The only one on Amazon is California, but I'm going to eventually put all of the other 34. Can you imagine that? The other 34 books on Amazon so that you will have access to that and that information. It's important. That's all I can tell you. But I want to thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. Each and every one of you have a place in my heart. You get the emails, you get the text messages. While we're on the show, if you heard the ding, those are text messages coming back. People saying, keep doing what you're doing. I'm so proud of you. We love you. Don't stop. It is when I'm getting teary-eyed because it means so much hearing from each and every one of you. So when you send messages back, don't think, many times I try to answer each and every one of you whenever I can, but they are definitely honored and appreciated by each and every one of you. Now, our show next week, we have a surprise guest for you that'll be on the show. I'm really excited about it, but I don't want to spoil it and start throwing out names, and then you're like, oh, I thought you said so and so. So I had to learn that. So you would just know, come back next week. We will be here same time, 1:00 p.m. We've been 2 years strong. You are appreciated. I love you, and I'll see you next Monday. Bye, everybody. Oh, I'm sorry. I have 2 more comments before I can go. There are Kayla. Hi, Kayla. And then we have Lavinia. Hi, Lavinia. So, bye, everybody.